Hello, everyone, again. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. I'm here today with Tom, and I met Tom at a networking meeting. Actually, it was a board meeting, virtual, of course. And I found out a little bit about what he was doing. And because it was so close to the information that we've been putting out about diabetes, I thought it was worth having another chat with him. So I private messaged him afterwards and we had a chat about his journey. And I just thought it was so amazing what he's doing and how much it could help and support other people that are out there, that I had to bring him to the group. So Tom, hello.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's really fun.
You're very welcome. Now, I don't know whether you've got a picture there, but I certainly can find a picture and put it somewhere. But you've been through an amazing life-changing experience, haven't you? Tell us your story.
Yeah, so it kind of happened. Well, it started 2 years ago when, after my loving and gently nagging wife persuaded me to go to the doctors. And it's one of those things I've been putting off literally for years. And he told me I was overweight and I needed to lose 10 kilos. And at that point, I didn't do anything because I actually knew I was overweight.
10
And
kilos is quite a lot, isn't it?
yeah, it's not insignificant. 22 pounds is kind of it's a decent amount to hold on to. And the funny thing was, though, it didn't really move me when I had that conversation. And I think I'd almost got to a point where I'd given up on weight loss. I just thought it wasn't possible in my life, and I prioritized other things like family and friends. And it wasn't until
So had you actually tried lots of ways at this point? Was this
I,
something you actively wanted to do?
yeah, I wouldn't say I was a perpetual dieter because I'm the type of person that hates any kind of order. But I had tried dieting before. I'd had some success with Weight Watchers, a couple of months, and lost 20 pounds, but it just came back on again, and that was the issue really. And it wasn't until I got that text message from the doctor that basically told me, the short answer of it was that I was going to get type 2 diabetes if it didn't change. And that really shocked me. It kind of like kind of blows your world apart type thing. And that was the kind of kick I needed to make a change. And from that day forward,
Well, what did you actually think? Sorry to interrupt, but when he said type 2 diabetes, what went through your mind?
yeah, I mean, he didn't say it in so many words. So he sent me for a test because of my fatty liver blood.
Yeah.
So he sent me for an MRI test, and it was only when I started looking into it I saw those are the kind of tests you do before you then get the diabetes test. But it was just it was when it became medical.
Okay.
Before that, it was superficial, and it's easy to kind of say, it's just to do with how I look, and I'd kind of given up on that anyhow. And so it was only when it became really medical, and he was actually sending me for a scan. So it was that kind of like, that real shock that it made me change. And literally from that day forward, I've kind of most months lost weight, and it's just been really from a mindset change.
Interesting. So, your journey, 2 years. What did you learn about yourself over that journey, and where did you get that sort of that information and the support from? Because you don't just sort of wake up one morning and go, "Oh, I know how to do it now." What happened there?
Well, I think it depends which way you look at it. I'm either very efficient or very lazy. So I like to think of it as efficiency. I like systems that are efficient. And I think what happened was I very quickly started using what I call like feeling the burn to eat. So what I do is I wait till I'm hungry till I eat. So every time I'm hungry, I eat straight away. There's no kind of fasting involved. And I started doing that straight away, and it started working. And what happened was I realized by about 8 months in, I thought, just a second, I'm still losing weight. This shouldn't be happening. I always fall off these things. What's different about it? And I mean, it's taken a while to kind of decode it, kind of looking backwards, because I didn't set out trying to design a diet or write a book or anything. And the reality is I took small little steps, practical steps every day, and those steps were based on simple things I could do. So they weren't based on goals of becoming vegan or eating keto, or things that are unobtainable. They were just very simple things, and I did them, and over time I lost weight, and it made me realize that actually I can lose weight. Actually, losing weight isn't that difficult. And since having done that, I've gone on to do much harder things. I would never have imagined I could have written a book. I'm dyslexic and I find writing difficult. And then, I've created a course and I'm starting a business, and it's really exciting because it empowers you. It turns you into the best version of yourself. It's nothing to do with the superficial stuff. I couldn't care less about that. Really, that doesn't get me up in the morning. It's that fact that I'm going to do something I love, and it's just, you're just so much more effective and stronger. I think the strength is the biggest thing.
Yeah, you mentioned something I heard you say earlier, and which is in our conversation before that you mentioned, which I picked up on, is you talked about mindset, and you said I'd almost given up on that part anyway, so
Yes.
that it didn't sort of matter. How much of people's perception of what they are or what they can be changed through mindset, do you think?
It is unbelievable the amount of change that can happen. I mean, it's actually making me emotional now thinking about it, because it, virtually everything you see in life is about kind of what you call procrastination.
Yeah.
Before, I was procrastinating. People think it's being lazy. It's not being lazy, it's doing the wrong thing.
Mm.
So the mindset thing just unlocks you to do the right thing at the right time. So instead of doing a habit that you used to do, or always feeling an emotion and reacting in a certain way, which is, I feel sad, I'm going to eat food, by understanding that you don't have to eat the food. It's not that you tell yourself you can't eat it. By understanding that you don't have to, it gives you the power to then sometimes overcome that. Once you do that a little bit, you get better at it, and you start walking, and then you get better and you start running. And it's not a, we're not talking about percentage points changes here. I feel it's more like going from a strength of 1 to 10 to 100. It is massive.
Mm. So the book that you've written, is it about your journey? Is it about somebody else's journey? Is it about the sort of, tell us about the book?
Yeah, so the book, it's not published yet, because I keep developing the idea. It's this thing, is kind of chicken and egg. I am getting to the point now where I think I can actually kind of round it all off. But it started off as just being my journey. And it was funny because I sent it to some people to read, and they were like, "You've missed half the book out." And I'm like, "What?" "Oh, right, yeah, that's the stuff in my head, isn't it? Yeah, I've got to get that down." So I got that bit down. And I think the book I've written up to now is more, it's a story about how an emotional person who was bad at dieting learned to diet. And it's got a lot about the mindset in it. And I've described it in ways that are non-technical, because I didn't know about any of the mindset stuff then. So it's really quite kind of, how I've kind of felt it from inside.
Really interesting. Yeah, because I think talking to people that I know from my own journey, I've always been somebody who, I think we had this conversation, didn't we? That I've been on sort of lots of different diets, never sort of really kept them, and it wasn't until I learnt that actually what I needed to focus on was actually what I put in my body rather than what I needed to keep out of my body, that suddenly that whole mind shift of I am valuable and therefore I'm going to eat these really wonderful, lovely foods.
Yeah,
And so I started packing my diet full of actually quite high calorific things. Um, but as I did that, I then stopped eating the other stuff. And then it became I don't eat that. That's not food I want to have in my body. And so it was, as you say, this mindset shift that
yeah.
then becomes a choice. I choose not to eat that, not I'm not allowed to eat
Exactly. Yeah,
that.
because every single rule, if for someone that's emotionally driven, it normally means you're someone that, I kind of call it like a support person. So you're a supporter in life. You help other people, and when that happens, you end up getting trod on. And it's that fact that you're taking back control, and it's like, instead of having to just give in to life, you're saying, "No, I'm going to do this." And it's really interesting the way you've described it, because you, it's the same outcome, but every single person has a slightly different take on it. And you were really focused on the quality of the ingredients. And this says something about me, but I was more focused on, like, I still need to be able to eat my Mars bars and things like that. But the end product is all exactly the same. And this is the interesting thing about diets. All diets are trying to get you to a healthy lifestyle. That's what they want you to do. Eat healthily, live as long as you can, based on the genes you've got and the luck and all those other things, but it's about, getting to a healthy lifestyle. But the question is how you get there and how easy it is. And I think a lot of traditional diets make it difficult because of, especially for emotional people, because of these rules that we bang ourselves on the head with.
Points, sins. I mean, just
Well, even the NHS one. So the NHS one is eat less, move more. Well, every time you're not moving, what's the thought in your head? Oh, I'm not moving. That's it. it
yeah.
it's just that any diet that's based on any rules that are strict it can be used against you.
Mm. And do you think that's why a lot of diets just don't work, because they are too regimented, and they have this stick that you judge yourself against the whole time? Have I been good today? And it's this whole language that we use, isn't it? I've been really good today, therefore I can have a cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting because there's a lot of people afraid to use the word diet today, and I think it's it's a very, you've got to tread a very careful line, because the reality is, I think when I was overweight, I needed to diet. I needed to lose weight. So that's why I keep the word diet in the name, because that's what it's about. But it's nothing to do with the superficial meaning of it. And that's why it takes all the toxicity out of it. So it's not about comparing yourself to someone. It's more just the fact that the diet piece is your healthy body, and then the body positive is just you not having the toxic thoughts in your head. So it's that kind of, it's almost a diet plus, diet positive. And I think, because the reality is that diets do work short term.
Mm.
And it's this thing that it's like all of these kind of goals that we head towards, like, I don't know, eat less, move more. What
Mm.
that needs on the end of is eat less, move more when you feel like it. Because
Yes.
if you take that away,
Yeah.
it's something you can beat yourself with. Whereas where you put it on it, when you make it more specific, then
Mm.
it's much more easy. So, for example, that to kind of put it in context, the strategy I use, the one strategy I used for losing all my weight is basically eat less as soon as you're hungry, only if you feel like it.
Oh,
That's it. That's literally it. So in 10 seconds, I've told you exactly what I did to lose weight. And I think that's the thing that's so revolutionary. It's like, what? You didn't have to follow all these rules and count this and point. No, it doesn't matter. There's lots of skinny people in the world who are thinner just because they regulate what they eat. Either they eat a lot more vegetables, or they have a lot more muscles, so they need more energy. There's any number of reasons, and you can play against your strength. If you've got a very active lifestyle, you can then eat more. If you've got a very sedentary one, then you need to move towards the, much kind of more eating more vegetables, because the carbohydrates, the white carbs, will just give you all the energy and you'll store it. So
mm.
it's all about, I suppose, it's almost a bespoke diet. You come up with your own solution.
So what do you call this diet?
So this diet is called the I'm gonna have to say this again. I'm in the middle of rebranding now. So before it was the Life Hack Diet, but now it's Diet Rebels. So it's basically about,
Let's do that again then. Hang
yeah.
on. So Tom, what do you call this diet?
Well, I call it Diet Rebels. And the reason is it's because it's about letting the true you out from inside. So when you're on a normal diet and you say, sod it, I'm going to have that biscuit, that rebelliousness inside you, you shouldn't try and contain it, because that's going to keep coming back. What you need to do is learn to manage it better. So sometimes you let it have the biscuit, and that's fine. And maybe the next meal you do something different, or not a biscuit, but a massive meal, or going away on holiday. It's not about, kind of making you feel bad. It's just about then having an adult conversation and saying, right, I've had a really nice meal yesterday. This morning I'm not hungry. I'm actually not going to have breakfast. And then when I'm hungry, I'll eat again. So it's basically letting the real you out and not having to pretend to be an accountant like on Weight Watchers.
Amazing. So you said the book's not published yet, so people can't read the book, but how can they get some help and some support from you?
That's a great question. So at the moment, we're running it's actually a free workshop. So we're going to do 8 courses, eight classes. They're going to be online, so you'll be able to consume them when you want. It'll take 8 weeks. And if you head over to Life Hack Diet, either on the Facebook page or the website, find my details there, and you'll be able to connect with me, and then we'll have a conversation and discovery call, and then you can come on the plan, and you can come and have a go. And it's literally, in the first class, you'll learn this kind of first system. And from there, you'll learn all the bits that sit around it and help you to build your own system.
That's absolutely amazing. I'll put the links and everything that people need
That would be brilliant. Thank you.
in the information. But wow, that's such a wonderful offer, and it's all about being proactive rather than reactive, isn't it? So I hope that you'll get a lot of take up from people that want to be a diet rebel.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'm glad you do.
Yeah. So, Tom, you said when you were starting to go on this diet, or what you didn't even know was a diet at that point, and that you found that you started to lose weight. What was the reason for that, and how did you sort of know what was going on in your body because of that way? Was there something that you had tried?
I, I think initially it was literally just eating smaller portions and knowing that in the day I wasn't eating that many calories. But then as I started to, I think it was about a year into the diet, I got really interested in the nutrition and started reading a lot about it. And after that, I did a nutrition course, so a level 3 accredited nutrition course. And so I started really reading about things like your muscles and how your body transfers all the energy from the food. And that's what got me then onto the looking at diabetes. And because obviously I was kind of heading for type 2 diabetes, which is where basically your body can't cope with the sugar rushes. And I'm a really sweet tooth. I've still got exactly the same sweet tooth as then. But I was noticing that there were quite a few people kind of on the edges that had started experimenting with using what's called a continuous glucose meter.
Okay.
And so these are little discs that they're about this big, and you put them on the back of your arm, and they give you continuous.
I've seen them on people on holiday on people, and I've always looked at them and thought, what is that?
They are incredible. You've literally got a lab on the side of your arm. They give you glucose readings every 15 minutes. So if you think of a pinprick test from the typical diabetes one, that just tells you a number of the amount of sugar in your blood, but you don't know if it's going up or down. And so what this gives you is actually a complete profile of it. And it was when I was doing that, I just did it out of interest. But halfway through, I started to look at the graph when I was hungry, and my bloods were dipping when I was hungry. And that's why it's almost like you could almost call it a micro fast, because you've got so little food in your body. It takes less time for you to reach a fasting point. The fasting is like when your body starts pulling the energy from your fat.
Yeah.
So I love the whole kind of diabetes piece, because actually this diet really helps that, because it really brought my blood sugars down.
Amazing.